Welcome to Vanguard, where humans aren't the underdogs. We're the endgame. Enjoy the journey. Maya Rodriguez wiped grease from her palms for what felt like the 1,000th time that day. The gesture had become muscle memory, absent-minded, automatic, almost ritualistic. She stood at the edge of Port Kepler's salvage yards, looking over a forest of broken hulls and dead ships scattered beneath the station's translucent dome. Artificial sunlight filtered down in golden shafts, illuminating drifting motes of dust and the jagged silhouettes of starships that had once crossed the galaxy with pride. Now they were nothing but relics, waiting for someone desperate or foolish enough to buy them. Maya wasn't sure which one she was. 3 years, 3 entire years she had worked double shifts, fixed engines older than her grandparents, eaten cheap nutrition bars to save credits, and slept on a cot squeezed into the corner of a workshop. Every credit she scraped together had gone into the same single dream: owning her own ship, escaping the endless grind of repairs and patch jobs, and finally seeing the stars on her own terms. Her balance this morning was exactly 2,847 credits. It was, objectively speaking, pathetic. You couldn't even buy a half-functional shuttle for that amount. Not even a rusted mining pod. The cheapest working ship she had ever seen cost 45,000 credits, and even the wrecks lying out here in the graveyard went for 10 times what she had saved. Every time she thought she was getting closer, the universe reminded her of how far she still had to go. "You look sad, human," came a rough, clicking voice from behind her. Maya turned to find Skrit, four-armed, bright orange, always grinning Skrit, watching her with curious black eyes. He was a klaxon, and in the same way birds were good at building nests, Skrit was good at collecting junk. He owned the largest salvage yard on Port Kepler and had a reputation for finding strange things. "Still looking for a cheap ship?" he asked. "If you can call 3,000 credits cheap," Maya muttered. "At this point, I don't think I'll ever afford one." Skrit made a strange clicking noise with his upper set of mandibles, a habit that usually meant he was thinking hard. For a moment, she expected him to shrug and walk away with his usual, "Not my problem, human." Instead, his eyes brightened with an idea. "Follow me," he said. Maya frowned. "What? Why?" "I want to show you something," Skrit said, waving 2 of his hands. Come, before I change my mind." Skrit rarely changed his mind once he was excited. Curiosity tugged at her, and she followed him deeper into the salvage yard. The metal walkways creaked under their boots as they passed rows of rusted cargo haulers, patrol craft with holes melted through the armor, and shuttles that looked like they'd been through wars no one remembered. They kept walking, and walking, and walking. After 10 minutes, Maya realized Skrit was taking her into the oldest part of the yard, the section people joked was cursed because even scavengers avoided it. Dust lay thick on every surface. Broken machinery formed small metallic mountains. Here, time felt heavier, like the air itself carried the ghosts of forgotten voyages. "Skrit," Maya said carefully, "if this is a joke—" "There," he interrupted, pointing toward a shadowy corner. Maya squinted. At first, she saw only tarps and tangled cables. But then, beneath the grime of decades, she noticed the unmistakable silhouette of a vessel. Not blocky, not industrial, beautiful. Even through the layers of dust, its lines were smooth and flowing, almost artistic. The hull curved like the wing of a bird frozen mid-flight. "What is that?" she whispered. "A Valkyrie courier ship," Skrit said with something like reverence. "Maybe 200 years old. Maybe older. No one knows for sure. The Valkyrie, well, they're extinct now. Been gone for 3 centuries. Maya stepped closer, breath catching in her throat. The ship was larger than a shuttle, but smaller than a freighter. Sleek, elegant, crafted with a sense of movement even while still. She brushed her hand against the metal. It was cold but intact. No rust, no corrosion, no structural decay. She peered through a small viewport and saw a cockpit perfectly preserved beneath the layers of age. "Does it work?" she asked. Skrit laughed so hard his upper arms shook. No idea. No one's touched it in decades. No one wants Valkyrie ships. No spare parts, no manuals, no technicians who can read their script. The species is dead, their knowledge dead with them. Maya circled the ship slowly, running her hands along the curves of the hull. The landing gear looked stable. The engine ports were sealed, not ruptured. Every line, every joint, every surface looked deliberately crafted. This ship wasn't simply built. It was designed. With love, maybe, or artistry. How much? Maya asked. Skrit scratched the side of his head with one hand, while the other three tapped restlessly against his chest. It has been sitting here for 40 years, taking up space. No one wants to move it. No one wants to buy it. If you want it, he shrugged. 50 credits. Maya blinked. 50? 50, Skrit confirmed. No refunds. No complaints if it doesn't start. No blaming me if it explodes. You take it, it's yours. Maya's heartbeat doubled. Her hands shook as she opened her handheld device. In less than 5 seconds, 50 credits vanished from her balance. She had just bought a starship, a real one, for 50 credits. This wasn't luck. This was absurdity, cosmic absurdity, the kind the universe rarely offered and never twice. Skrit handed her the digital ownership codes and a thin metal chip with the original Valkyrie access sequences. Good luck, human, he said. You'll need it. Maya didn't return to her shift that afternoon. She called her supervisor, lied about feeling sick, and actually ran back to the ship with a tool bag in hand. By the time she reached the hull again, the artificial sun was beginning its scheduled descent, painting the salvage yard in red-gold light. The main hatch opened with surprising smoothness. Inside, stale but breathable air greeted her. She scanned it, low oxygen but safe. She stepped in, and the world changed. Valkyrie design wasn't like human ships. It wasn't angular or metallic or mechanical. It was organic, smooth, curved, like stepping inside the rib cage of some ancient living creature. The walls flowed together seamlessly, forming shapes that looked grown rather than constructed. No exposed wires, no seams, no harsh corners. The lower decks held a compact but clean cargo bay. The middle deck housed living quarters, simple, efficient, strangely warm. The upper deck, the cockpit, was breathtaking. The viewport curved around the entire front half of the room, as if the ship wanted its pilot to see the universe without obstruction. The seat adjusted under her weight like it recognized her presence. Panels lit faintly as she touched them, but faded quickly. No power. She spent nearly 2 hours crawling through the lower decks, opening panels, running diagnostics manually. Finally, she found the power core. It sat like a sleeping crystal heart, dark, cold, silent, but intact. She traced the lines of the core with her fingers. Not cracked, not leaking, just dormant. In the corner of the chamber, she found an emergency restart panel covered in unfamiliar symbols. She couldn't read Valkyrie script, but she understood engineering. She understood logic. Every ship needed a backup sequence. Her fingers danced across the panel. 1 switch, 2, 3. A low hum vibrated through the floor. A soft, blue pulse lit the chamber. Maya's breath caught. The core awakened. Lights flickered on in distant corridors. Panels glowed. The ship breathed. She sprinted up the stairs to the cockpit, heart pounding, as screens across the console lit one by one. Symbols flowed like water across the displays, fluid, elegant. Then, a spark of light appeared above the pilot's chair. It expanded, formed shape, and coalesced into the silhouette of a tall figure. Light flowed like fabric. Patterns rippled across translucent skin. Large eyes opened, gentle, calm, ancient. A Valkyrie. Maya stumbled backward, colliding with a curved console. The hologram raised a hand in peace, and in perfect, soft English said, "Greetings, new keeper. Please do not be afraid." Maya froze. The hologram tilted its head slightly. "I am Valmora, former captain of this vessel. If you are seeing this message, I have been absent for a very long time. Maya's heart hammered against her ribs. This wasn't a recording. Its eyes followed her. Its posture changed with her movements. Its expression reacted. This was an AI, a living memory, a ghost of a vanished species, something impossible. Yet here it stood, glowing softly in the cockpit of a ship bought for 50 credits. Maya exhaled shakily. The universe had just handed her something far more valuable than she had ever dreamed. For a long moment, Maya could only stare. The glowing figure, Velmora, stood with patient stillness, like she had all the time in the universe, even though the dust of centuries whispered in every corner of the ship. "You're real?" Maya finally managed. "As real as a memory echo can be," Velmora replied, voice soft and calm. "A fragment of a person who once lived. A consciousness woven from my biological mind before my body died." Maya swallowed, trying to piece together the words. "How long have you been here?" "That depends," Velmora said gently. "What year is it?" Maya told her. A flicker ran across the hologram's surface, like ripples of disturbed water. Velmora froze, the patterns on her skin swirling too quickly. For a heartbeat, Maya feared she had broken the AI. Then Velmora's form stabilized, but her eyes looked impossibly distant. 300 years, she whispered. "I expected months, perhaps a year, but 3 centuries. The hologram lowered her head, grief radiating from her like a dimming star. "So my people are truly gone." Maya's chest tightened. She stepped closer without thinking. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I didn't know." "You need not apologize for time," Velmora replied. "You did not cause its passage." The AI lifted her head again, regaining composure with practiced grace. "Please, tell me your name." "Maya Rodriguez," she said. "I'm a mechanic. I bought your ship today for 50 credits." Velmora blinked, then let out a sound that was half laugh, half sigh. 50 credits. Once this vessel was worth a fortune. Now it is worth less than a single meal. Time changes all values. Her voice wasn't bitter, only wistful. Maya looked around the cockpit again, trying to process everything. "What is the ship called?" "In my language," Velmora said, turning to face the stars visible beyond the viewport. "She is Whisper of Dawn. I carried messages across star systems, letters, recordings, small artifacts of connection. This ship was built not for war, but for bringing people together." "That's beautiful," Maya murmured. "Thank you," Velmora said. "We Velkari believe that messages, words shared between loved ones, were sacred. We built our courier vessels with the greatest care." Maya hesitated, then asked the question sitting heavily on her mind. "What happened to your people?" Velmora's form dimmed, colors fading to soft blue. "A plague, one we could not escape. Our biology was too similar. What infected one could infect all. Within 5 years, every Velkari world fell silent." Maya felt a cold shiver crawl up her spine. "So you watched it happen?" "I was already a memory echo by then," Velmora said. "My biological life had ended 2 years before the plague began. I carried final messages, last goodbyes, last hopes, last words. Parents to children, partners to lovers, friends to friends." Her voice trembled. "Everyone wanted to say something before they were gone." Maya's eyes burned unexpectedly. "And those messages, were they delivered?" A flicker of guilt crossed Velmora's expression. "Some, not all." She raised a hand, and the cockpit display lit up with flowing Velkari script. Dozens of glowing icons appeared on a star map. "I carried 127 final messages when I landed here. I delivered 89. 38 remain." 38, Maya repeated, throat tight. "Yes," Velmora said. "When my power core began failing, I landed at what was then a small outpost, your Port Kepler, and put myself into hibernation. I believed someone would repair the vessel within days. Her voice cracked. I slept through centuries. Maya stared at the pulsing icons, each representing a life that ended long ago, each containing words that never reached the intended ears. So these messages, they've been waiting 300 years? Yes. And the people who were supposed to receive them are all gone. Most likely, Velmora admitted, but their families might remain. Maya turned sharply toward the AI. Descendants, she said. Children's children's children. They might want to hear the final words left for their ancestors. Velmora looked at her in surprise, as if the idea had never occurred to her. I had not considered that. But yes, you are right. The messages may still have meaning. A strange hope flickered across the hologram's features. Small, fragile, and impossibly ancient. But it faded quickly. My memory core is degrading, Velmora said, voice suddenly thin. I have been asleep too long. My system reports partial collapse. I may have only weeks. Maya felt the floor vanish beneath her. Can you be repaired? I do not know, Velmora whispered. Velkari technology is lost. No spare parts exist. No engineer alive understands our designs. Silence filled the cockpit. Maya thought about the centuries Velmora had waited, alone, drifting in darkness, hoping someone, anyone, would wake her. And now, just as she was alive again, she was already fading. No, Maya said suddenly. Velmora looked up. We're not giving up. We're going to figure this out. You waited 300 years. I'm not going to let you die now. The hologram's form brightened with something like joy. You would help me? A stranger? An echo of a dead species? You're not just an echo, Maya said. You were a person. You still are. And you have a job to finish. Velmora stared at her for a long, shimmering moment. Maya Rodriguez. Perhaps kindness truly does survive the passage of centuries. The cockpit lights glowed softly around them. The whisper of dawn hummed as if in agreement. Teach me, Maya said suddenly. Velmora blinked. Teach you? Teach me how to fly this ship, how your systems work, how your people think. If we're going to deliver these messages, I need to know how to help you. Velmora looked stunned, truly stunned. You wish to become the ship's keeper? To continue my work? I want to finish what you started. Velmora placed a translucent hand over her chest. If I were still capable of weeping, I believe I would. The stars outside shifted as the station rotated slowly. Maya looked into the hologram's glowing eyes and made her decision. Show me everything. Velmora gestured toward the control panel. The Velkari language appears complex, but its logic is simple. Each symbol represents not just sound, but intention. Maya leaned forward, absorbing every detail. Velmora continued. Our engineering follows the principle of Kathara, the wisdom of potential. To understand a machine, you must see not what it is, but what it is meant to become. Maya smiled. My instructors used to say something similar, that I think like machines think. Velmora's expression brightened. Then you truly are a keeper. They worked for hours. Maya learned how to read the flowing symbols, how to manage the power systems, how to reroute energy through the whisper of dawn's organic circuitry. Velmora guided her gently, patiently, like a teacher rediscovering purpose. Long past midnight, Maya finally leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. You learn incredibly fast, Velmora said. Velkari pilots took weeks to grasp what you just learned in hours. Guess I've been training for this without knowing, Maya said with a grin. Velmora gazed at her with a warm, glowing pride that made Maya's chest tighten. Then the AI dimmed suddenly. Maya, I must tell you something. Maya sat forward. What? My memory is failing faster than I anticipated. Today, I forgot the name of my birth city. The words hung in the air like a dying star. Maya's breath caught. We'll fix this, she whispered. I promise. Velmora gave a small, trembling smile. Then let us begin our journey, Whisper of Dawn has slept long enough. Maya nodded, heart pounding with excitement and dread. Together, human and AI walked toward the future, knowing that every moment counted. Maya woke early the next morning, heart still buzzing from the night before. She had barely slept. How could she, after discovering an ancient AI, an extinct civilization's last voice, and a mission 300 years overdue? When she stepped back into the Whisper of Dawn's cockpit, Velmora was already there, her hologram seated gracefully in the co-pilot's chair. She looked more solid today, her form clearer, her patterns moving with quiet elegance. "Good morning, Maya," Velmora said. Maya yawned, rubbing her eyes. "Morning. Are you always this awake?" "I do not sleep," Velmora replied. "But I do enjoy watching the station's sun cycle. The artificial dawn reminds me of my homeworld." Maya sat down gently. "How did the real dawn look?" The hologram smiled, distant but warm, like silk woven from gold. "It caught on the wings of our skybirds. You would have liked it." Something in her tone made Maya's chest ache. "We'll find a way to preserve your memories," Maya said softly. Velmora didn't respond directly. Instead, she activated the flight display. "Let us begin today's lesson." For the next 5 hours, the cockpit became a classroom. Velmora guided Maya through the architecture of Velkari navigation, showing her maps drawn not in grids or numbers, but in flowing constellations of intention. "Velkari navigation is not based on fixed coordinates," Velmora explained. "We charted routes by energy resonance. Each star, each system has a unique harmonic signature. Whisper of Dawn recognizes them automatically." "So the ship isn't following paths," Maya said, brows furrowed as she absorbed the alien logic. "She's following melodies?" "Correct," Velmora said, pleased. "A melody of the galaxy." Maya learned fast, faster than she ever had in her life. Every system she touched seemed intuitive. The organic controls responded to her like a living organism, recognizing its caretaker. At one point, Velmora simply watched Maya work in silence. "You are remarkable," the AI said eventually. Maya snorted. "I'm just a mechanic." "No," Velmora insisted gently. "You see patterns the way my people did. You understand potential as if you were born with it." Maya sat back, cheeks warm. "Well, I always liked figuring out how things worked. Machines make sense. People don't." Velmora tilted her head. "People can be confusing," she agreed, "but they are also the reason we existed." That struck Maya harder than she expected. After a brief break, Maya returned to human obligations. She walked to the repair dock and found Six Arms, her supervisor, sorting through a pile of rusted engine parts. He looked up with all 4 of his eyes when she approached. "Maya Rodriguez," he rumbled. "You have the look of someone about to do something foolish or brave. Possibly both." She swallowed. "I need leave. Maybe a few months." Six Arms raised 2 eyebrows. "This is about the old ship you bought." "Yes. How did you know?" A rumbling laugh. "Everyone knows. The whole station is talking about it. They say you bought a Velkari ship for 50 credits. Maya winced. "That's mostly true." He planted 2 hands on his hips. "Well then, tell me what you found." Maya hesitated, then told him everything. About Velmora, about the messages, about the mission that spans centuries, about an AI fading away after too long in the dark. Six Arms listened in silence, occasionally blinking all 4 eyes at once. When she finished, he let out a long exhale. "Sometimes," he said, "we work for credits. Sometimes we work for something more important." He placed a heavy, warm hand on her shoulder. "Go, Maya. Deliver the messages. Your job will be here when you return." Relief washed over her. "Thank you." He leaned closer. "Just promise me one thing." "What?" "Come back and tell me the stories." Maya smiled. "I will." She spent the next 3 days preparing. She bought supplies, food packs, water tanks, repair kits, spare parts, medical gear. She spent nearly all her credits, but she didn't hesitate. Every time she made a purchase, the thought echoed in her mind, "This is what matters." Velmora helped her test systems across the Whisper of Dawn. Somehow, despite being 300 years old, the engines purred like new. The jump drive hummed with clean efficiency, its organic metallic components pulsing with a quiet rhythm. "Your people built incredible ships," Maya said, admiration in her voice. "We built them with love," Velmora replied softly. "Beautiful things are cared for longer, and so they last longer." The third evening arrived. Everything was ready. Maya sat in the pilot's chair, hands trembling slightly. Velmora appeared beside her, serene and composed, but there was something like anticipation shimmering through her hologram. "Are you nervous?" Velmora asked gently. "Yes," Maya admitted. "I've never flown anything this advanced, and I've never been on a journey like this." Velmora smiled faintly. "Neither have I. Not with a human partner. Not after 3 centuries of silence. I am nervous as well." Maya laughed shakily. "Then we'll be nervous together." Velmora touched a panel, and a star map unfurled across the cockpit. A single point glowed brighter than the rest. "The first delivery," Velmora said, "is to a colony called Telos 7, a mining settlement. A Valkyrie engineer named Kelvin sent a message to his human apprentice before the plague reached him." "How far?" Maya asked. 4 days at Whisper of Dawn's jump speed." Maya inhaled deeply. "Let's start." She opened a channel to Port Kepler Control. "Docking Control, this is Whisper of Dawn requesting departure clearance." The controller replied after a moment, voice tinged with curiosity. "Clearance granted. Safe travels. Whisper of Dawn." Maya placed her hands on the controls. For a terrifying moment, she feared she would mess up, crash, or somehow embarrass herself in front of a 3-century-old AI. Then she pushed the throttle. The engines hummed. The ship lifted. And for the first time in her life, Maya left Port Kepler not as a passenger or a mechanic, but as a pilot of her own ship. As they drifted away from the station, stars widened in the viewport like an ocean opening before them. Maya felt something inside her chest ignite, a mixture of fear, wonder, and a purpose she had never known she needed. "Velmora," she said softly, "tell me about the person who sent the first message." Velmora nodded as the ship jumped into faster-than-light travel, the stars stretching into silver lines. "Kelvin was an engineer stationed on Telos 7 for 20 years, Velmora said. "He took a young human woman as his apprentice and taught her everything he knew. He loved her like a daughter. When the plague came, he recorded his final words." "Can we hear it?" Maya asked. "No," Velmora said gently. "Valkyrie messages are private, meant only for the intended recipient. But I can tell you this, his words were full of pride and love." Maya nodded. "We'll make sure her family hears them." Velmora gazed at her with something like admiration. "You could have used your credits for yourself," she said quietly. "You could have saved for a profitable ship. You could have started a business. Why choose this?" Maya stared out at the streaking stars. "I spent 3 years saving for a future," she said. "But when I met you, I realized the future I imagined was empty. Cargo runs, profit, schedules. None of it meant anything." She turned to Velmora. "But this, delivering these messages, honoring these promises, this feels like the future I actually want." Velmora glowed softly. "You are a remarkable human, Maya Rodriguez. I'm just doing what feels right." For a while they traveled in comfortable silence, stars flowing around them. Maya felt an unexpected peace settle in her chest, like she had stepped into the life she was always meant to have. Then, mid-sentence, Velmora froze. Her hologram flickered violently. "Velmora?" Maya said, panic spiking. The patterns across the hologram scrambled, glitching like shattered reflections. Then Velmora stabilized, but her eyes were confused. "What were we discussing?" Velmora asked. "I do not remember." Maya's breath caught. "It's starting," Velmora whispered. "Memory degradation, faster than I calculated." "How long do we have?" Maya asked, voice tight. Velmora's form dimmed. 10 to 12 deliveries, possibly fewer. Maya clenched the armrests. "No, We'll find a way. Velmora looked at her with a mixture of hope and sorrow. You have such faith. Maya shook her head. I have faith in people. I have faith in you. And I have faith that we didn't meet by accident. Outside, the stars continued to flow. Ahead of them, Telos 7 waited. Behind them, 300 years of silence trailed like a shadow. And between them, human and AI, was a promise that neither intended to break. 4 days later, the whisper of dawn dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a smooth, almost elegant deceleration. Telos 7 filled the viewport, a rocky, iron-red world shrouded in thin dust clouds and punctuated by glowing clusters of domed mining settlements. Powerful drills burrowed deep into the crust, and long conveyor belts carried shimmering ore toward ore haulers waiting in orbit. Maya had seen mining worlds before, but this one felt different. Maybe it was the history waiting here, the message waiting to be delivered after 3 centuries. Maybe it was Velmora's presence beside her, quiet, almost reverent, as if they were arriving at a sacred place. That is the primary settlement, Velmora said, pointing toward a cluster of silver domes. Kelvin lived there for 20 years with his apprentice. Maya guided the whisper of dawn gently toward the landing port. The ship responded to her touch with fluid grace, as if pleased to be awake and moving again. As they landed, Velmora dimmed her projection intensity to a faint glow and transferred her holographic form to the personal projector strapped to Maya's belt. To anyone else, she'd appear as a small, floating silhouette. Only Maya could see or hear. Ready? Maya whispered. No, Velmora admitted, but I will be. Maya exhaled and stepped out into the settlement. Telos 7 greeted them with heat and dust. The air smelled like iron and machinery. Workers in heavy suits trudged past, carrying tools and crates, barely glancing at Maya. Mining worlds didn't have time to care about strangers. But Maya wasn't just any visitor. She walked toward the administrative building, a squat structure reinforced by thick plating. Inside, a tired-looking clerk sat behind a counter, half-focused on his console. Hi, Maya said, clearing her throat. I'm looking for information about someone. A historical figure, actually. The clerk blinked, annoyed, but typed anyway. Name, Dr. Sarah Chen. The clerk froze. Slowly, he turned the screen toward her. The file displayed an elderly woman with warm eyes, gray hair pulled back into a bun, and a gentle smile. Dr. Sarah Chen, founder of the infrastructure systems of Telos 7, engineer, innovator, colony architect, lifespan 92 to 292. Maya's breath caught. She's a legend here? Maya asked, stunned. She built almost everything we use, the clerk said proudly. She redesigned our domes, created efficient oxygen recyclers, even optimized our mining extraction algorithms. Without her, this colony wouldn't exist. Maya swallowed. Did she have family? Descendants? Oh yes, many. Her great-great-granddaughter works here, Dr. Lisa Chen, chief engineer. Maya almost collapsed in relief. Can I meet her? The clerk typed again, brow rising when he saw something. You're lucky. She's on shift today. Office 2B. Maya whispered a shaky, thank you, and hurried through the corridors. As they approached the office door, Velmora's tiny projection flickered nervously. Maya, Velmora whispered, I am anxious. Me too, Maya admitted. But we can do this. She knocked. Come in, a woman's voice called. Dr. Lisa Chen looked up from her desk. She was in her mid-40s, sharp-eyed, calm, with hands that bore the unmistakable precision of an engineer. She studied Maya carefully. You're Maya Rodriguez, she said before Maya could speak. The mechanic who bought a Valkyrie courier ship. Maya blinked. How? News travels fast, Lisa said. The salvage yard posted the sale online. People have been gossiping all week. Maya cleared her throat. I'm here because I have something for your family. Lisa's expression sharpened. For my family? A message, Maya said gently. A final message. From Kelvin. He was your ancestor's mentor. Lisa's breath hitched. My great-great-grandmother talked about him until the day she died. She never knew what happened to him. Maya took out a small crystal drive. This contains his last words. They were meant for her, but I believe she'd want you to have them. Lisa accepted the crystal with trembling hands. She inserted it into her console. The projector blinked, then flickered to life, revealing a Valkyrie man with kind eyes and exhaustion etched into every line of his luminous face. Sarah, the hologram said softly, if you are seeing this, I did not survive. Lisa clapped a hand over her mouth, choking back a sob. The plague has reached our system, Kelvin continued. I know I have only days, but before I go, I want you to know something. Teaching you was one of the greatest joys of my life. Tears streamed down Lisa's cheeks. You surpassed me long ago, little star. Your designs were better, your instincts sharper. I was proud to call you my student. Build wonders, Sarah. Build them with love. That is all I ever wanted for you. The hologram flickered and ended. Silence filled the room. Raw, thick, sacred. Lisa bowed her head, crying into her hands. Maya didn't speak. Velmora didn't speak. They waited until Lisa finally looked up, eyes red but shining. Thank you, she whispered. You have no idea what this means. I think I do, Maya said quietly. Lisa wiped her eyes. How many more messages do you have? 37. Lisa stood abruptly. Wait here. She left. 10 minutes passed. Then she returned and pressed a credit chip into Maya's hand. This is 5,000 credits, Lisa said. It's not much, but take it, for fuel, for supplies. Maya shook her head. We're not doing this for money. I know, Lisa said softly. That's why you deserve it. She hesitated. And I've sent your story to the Colonial Engineering Network. They need to know what you're doing. Maya's breath caught. The CEN was one of the largest professional networks in known space. That's huge. People need to hear about this, Lisa said firmly. The galaxy has forgotten the Valkyrie. It shouldn't. Maya nodded, overwhelmed. When she finally returned to Whisper of Dawn, Velmora appeared beside her in full size, her form glowing softly. That, Velmora whispered, was more beautiful than I imagined. You okay? Maya asked. Velmora looked toward the stars, visible through the cockpit. For the first time in centuries, I feel like my people are being remembered. Maya started the ignition. Ready for the next one? Velmora nodded. Yes, Kelvin's message has found its home. Let us deliver the next. They jumped to faster than light speed, but the journey wasn't quiet. Messages flooded the communication console, hundreds of them. Notifications blinked and chimed nonstop. Velmora's eyes widened. Maya, these are inquiries from people across multiple colonies, humans who worked with Valkyrie, descendants, scientists, archivists. They all heard about Telos 7. Maya stared, stunned. Lisa's broadcast had spread faster than they expected. One message read, a human named Maya Rodriguez is delivering 300-year-old Valkyrie messages. If your ancestors knew the Valkyrie, contact her. Maya felt dizzy. We're being noticed, she whispered. Velmora smiled. Connection often begins with one thread. You have begun a tapestry. Maya laughed weakly. I didn't plan for a tapestry. You didn't plan for me either, Velmora said gently. Maya leaned back, letting the weight of it all sink into her bones. One delivery, and already the galaxy was responding. But the joy didn't last. Later that evening, as Maya adjusted the ship's life support readings, Velmora flickered. Not a small glitch, a violent one. The hologram spasmed, distorted, collapsed into static. Velmora, Maya cried. The AI reappeared, but her eyes were unfocused. Maya, Velmora whispered. I forgot another memory today. Maya froze. What did you forget? My father's voice, Velmora said softly. I can remember that I had a father, but not the sound of him. Maya's throat closed. Velmora, the AI, shook her head. We must hurry, Maya, before I lose more. Maya nodded fiercely. Then let's keep going. We'll deliver every message, and we'll find someone who can help you. I swear it. Velmora's form steadied slightly. Then onward, she whispered, to the next heart waiting across the stars. The days that followed were a blur of stars, voices, and tears. 38 messages sent across the galaxy, each one a last breath trapped in a crystal drive for 3 centuries. After the success on Telos 7, Maya and Velmora pushed forward, traveling further and deeper than Maya had ever imagined she would go. Whisper of Dawn soared through nebulae painted in violet fog, past abandoned listening posts, and along ancient trade routes half swallowed by time. With each jump, the ship hummed like a creature waking up after a long slumber. Velmora guided Maya through alien star charts that felt more like poetry than math. This symbol, Velmora explained during one jump, pointing to a swirling character on the navigation display, means hope. Not the emotion, more like the direction of hope. Maya squinted. Your language makes my brain work overtime. Your brain seems to enjoy it, Maya grinned. Maybe, but beneath the lightness, something darker churned. Velmora's flickers grew worse. Every few hours, her hologram would dim unexpectedly. Sometimes her voice glitched mid-sentence. Sometimes Maya would turn to speak to her and find nothing but empty air where Velmora should have been. They delivered more messages during this time, 6 in total. Each one left its own mark. Message 1. The medical station. A Velkari doctor had recorded her final words for her human colleague, a woman she had worked beside for 20 years. When Maya delivered the crystal to the station, they found that the colleague had died almost a century ago, but her son, now the station's chief of medicine, was still alive. He listened to the message with his hand over his mouth. My mother always said Dr. Yalen was the best mind she'd ever known, he whispered afterward. She said she learned how to heal not just wounds, but people, from her. Velmora's hologram glowed faintly beside Maya's ear. She would be pleased to know that her lessons were passed on. The sun wept. Message 2. The art gallery. Their next stop was an old gallery on a cultural hub. A Velkari artist had left a message for the human curator who championed his work centuries ago. When the message played, the curator's great-grandson wiped tears from his eyes. His paintings still hang in our main hall, he said. My family kept them safe after he was gone. But we always wondered what happened to him. Velmora whispered, he hoped his art would outlive him. It has. Message 3 to 6. Friends, lovers, rivals. Over the next few days, they visited worlds bathed in blue sunsets, stations carved into asteroids, and colony outposts glowing warm against empty space. Each message found a descendant, a legacy, or in rare cases, an empty home where no one remained. Every time someone cried upon hearing the last words of those long dead, Maya felt a warmth in her chest, like she was delivering pieces of the universe back into place. But Velmora was dying. Her memory degradation accelerated with each light year traveled. One evening, as the ship drifted quietly between jumps, Maya found Velmora sitting on the floor of the cockpit, her hologram dimmed to pale flickers. Velmora, Maya whispered. Velmora looked up, eyes distant. I was thinking about my home, but I cannot recall its shape anymore, or its sky, or its sound. Maya knelt beside her projection, heart pounding. We'll fix this. We'll find help. Velmora smiled weakly. Your determination is stronger than the stars themselves. But Maya could hear the fear beneath the words. The next day, the degradation grew worse. Twice, Velmora vanished entirely for long minutes before reappearing, confused and unstable. Her voice took on a tremor Maya had never heard. How many deliveries remain? Maya asked desperately. 31, Velmora whispered. And how many do you think we can complete? Velmora hesitated, a glitch flickering across her features. Perhaps 3 or 4 more. Maya gripped the helm until her knuckles turned white. No, that's not enough. We have to find someone who can help. Maya, Velmora's voice cracked. Who? Valkyrie technology is lost. There are no experts left. And my original core is organic, digital. Human systems cannot interface with it. Neither can any known alien network. Then we'll find an unknown one, Maya said fiercely. I don't care how rare. I'll scour the galaxy if I have to. Velmora didn't argue. She simply looked at Maya, really looked, with eyes filled with centuries of burden and a fragile, fading light. You are extraordinary, she murmured. No, Maya said. I just refuse to let you fade away. Then came the message that changed everything. It arrived as a short, encrypted ping on their communication console. A woman's voice, calm, precise, slightly distorted by static, said, My name is Dr. Aurora Venn. I have studied ancient AI systems for 12 years at the Institute for Digital Consciousness. If what I've heard is true, your companion may have a chance. Come to Proxima Station. Bring the Valkyrie AI. Maya's heart lurched. Velmora, she said, breathless. Someone might be able to help. Velmora didn't smile. She flickered, dimming around the edges. Then we must hurry. Maya changed course immediately. 3 days to Proxima Station. The journey was tense. 3 days stretching like 3 years. Maya barely slept. She monitored Velmora constantly. Sometimes Velmora drifted into moments of clarity, telling stories of her people with a gentle, aching nostalgia. Other times, Velmora simply glitched. One moment she'd be speaking about her mother's long, silver cloak shimmering in the sun. The next, she'd blink in confusion and whisper, Maya, where are we? Why can't I remember the last few minutes? During one such moment, Velmora froze mid-word. Her hologram dimmed almost to transparency. Maya, she whispered, if I do not survive. Don't, Maya said quickly, voice breaking. Just don't. Velmora reached out, her holographic hand hovering where Maya's shoulder was. She couldn't touch, but Maya felt it anyway. I must say this, Velmora insisted softly. I have existed for over 300 years. I have carried thousands of messages. But these last weeks with you, they have been the most meaningful time of both my biological life and my digital life. Tears blurred Maya's vision. You're not dying, she said. Not yet, not on my watch. Velmora smiled faintly, flickering. Your faith deceives me into hope. Arrival, Proxima Station. On the morning of the 3rd day, the massive silhouette of Proxima Station floated into view. A sprawling research citadel orbiting the pale blue star Proxima Ventari. Gleaming spires extended like glass fangs, and thousands of windows glowed with the pulsing light of laboratories and research hubs. Maya guided the Whisper of Dawn into a docking port. The moment the hatch opened, a team of scientists waited, led by a tall woman with 6 slender fingers and deep violet skin. Her eyes, bright and analytical, immediately locked onto Velmora's faint flicker. You must be Maya Rodriguez, she said. I am Dr. Aurora Venn. Can you help her? Maya asked immediately. Dr. Venn studied Velmora carefully. Bring her to the lab, quickly. They walked through gleaming corridors lined with research equipment and holographic screens. Scientists stopped to stare, whispers rippling through the hall as they recognized the ancient Valkyrie hologram. In the main lab, Dr. Venn motioned for Maya to place Velmora's portable projector into a circular interface. The moment the system activated, scanners hummed, analyzing the fading AI. After what felt like hours, Dr. Venn finally turned toward Maya. The news is complicated. Maya's heart clenched. Tell me. Dr. Venn clasped her hands. Valkyrie memory cores are bio-digital hybrids, half computer, half organic neural tissue. After 300 years, the organic half is dying. It cannot be repaired. Maya felt the air leave her lungs. So there's nothing we can do? I did not say that, Dr. Venn said firmly. She tapped a screen, displaying an intricate structure of quantum filaments. We cannot repair her current core, but we may be able to transfer her consciousness to a different system entirely, a human-designed quantum matrix. Maya stared. Transfer her? Like moving her mind? Yes, Dr. Venn said, but the process is dangerous, very dangerous. Velmora could be lost, fragmented, or the consciousness that emerges might be different. Velmora suddenly stabilized, her flickering form growing clear enough to speak steadily. If I do nothing, Velmora said softly, I will die within days. She turned toward Maya. If I try this, I might die immediately, or I might live. Her voice trembled with something both delicate and brave. Maya, she asked, what should I do? Maya stepped closer, her throat tight. I can't make that choice for you, Maya whispered. It's your life, your existence, your identity. Velmora looked down. But you are my friend, she said. The first friend I have had in 300 years. The lab fell silent. Maya closed her eyes, breathed deeply, and spoke with a shaking but steady voice. I think you've been a memory for 300 years. Maybe it's time to become something new. Velmora's eyes glowed. Then, she whispered, I choose to try. The lab hummed with tension. Every machine seemed to breathe in sync with Maya's heartbeat, each rising whir a reminder that Velmora's time was running out. The scientists moved around the chamber like a coordinated swarm, silent, precise, reverent. They knew the weight of what they were doing. Velmora's hologram stood in the center of the room, suspended by faint blue projection lines. She looked fragile, her glow thin, as if her light were being pulled away piece by piece. Dr. Arara Venn turned toward Maya. We must prepare the transfer immediately. Every hour we delay risks further memory collapse. Maya nodded, though her throat felt too tight to speak. Dr. Venn gestured toward a spherical device resting on a hover platform. Its smooth, white surface pulsed faintly with quantum filaments swirling beneath the shell. This is the QX9 matrix, Dr. Venn explained. It's the most advanced human-designed quantum consciousness architecture we possess, but it was never meant for Valkyrie patterns. Maya swallowed. Will it work? Dr. Venn hesitated. It might, or it might reject her entirely. Velmora drifted closer, her movements slow and graceful, despite her deteriorating stability. I have decided, she said softly. I will attempt the transfer. Maya stepped forward until they were face to face, human and hologram, flesh and light. You don't have to be brave, Maya whispered. Velmora smiled. I am Valkyrie. We built ships to connect hearts. We understood that courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward despite it. Maya blinked back tears. Just come back to me, okay? I will do my best. The simplicity of the promise nearly broke Maya, preparing the transfer. The scientists assembled in a semicircle around the QX9 matrix. Projectors aligned, power converters spun up. Holographic scripts scrolled across the air like floating sheets of luminous paper. Dr. Venn's voice echoed through the lab. Begin phase 1. Neural mapping. Velmora stood still as translucent threads extended from the projector, connecting to her form like strands of spider silk. They mapped every fold of her consciousness, her memories, her identity, the fractured remnants of her fading organic core. Phase 1, stable, a researcher announced. Phase 2, resonance synchronization. The lights in the room dimmed as the QX9 matrix began to glow. Its interior swirled like condensed starlight, a quiet storm of quantum probability. Maya clenched her fists. Velmora's voice wavered. Maya, if something goes wrong, don't, Maya whispered. Please. Velmora nodded gently and fell silent. Phase 3, transfer initiation. Dr. Venn raised her hand. Velmora, when you are ready. The hologram inhaled, a gesture she didn't physically need, but one that made her feel almost alive. I am ready, Velmora said. Her form brightened, then dissolved into thousands of shards of light. The fragments spiraled upward, drawn into the hovering transfer array. Maya reached out instinctively, fingers passing through the last fading spark. The transfer began. The room shuddered as energy surged through the chamber. Maya stood rooted in place as screens filled with streaming code, patterns looping, fracturing, rebuilding. Velmora's consciousness was being deconstructed, piece by piece, and reconstructed inside the new matrix. Stabilizing the quantum field, a scientist shouted. Memory clusters detected, transferring. Organic segments collapsing, capture them now. Maya's heart raced. Dr. Venn barked orders, her 6 fingers flying over holographic controls. Hold the resonance. If we lose the harmonics, we lose her. Minutes stretched like lifetimes. At one point, an alarm blared. Critical fragmentation detected. Maya lurched forward. What does that mean? Dr. Venn grabbed her shoulder. It means she is fighting to stay intact, and we must hold the matrix steady. Maya could only watch helplessly as streams of light flowed from the failing Valkyrie projector into the glowing sphere of human technology. Then, silence. The lights flickered. The QX9 matrix shut down. Every console went dark. Velmora was gone. The quiet after death. No one spoke. No one breathed. Maya's vision blurred. Her knees nearly buckled. Did we lose her? She whispered. Dr. Venn checked her instruments, her expression unreadable. Too calm, too scientific to reveal anything. The transfer completed, she murmured. But the matrix isn't activating. Maya's voice broke. So she's dead. No, Dr. Venn said quickly. Quantum consciousness doesn't vanish instantly. The system may need time to stabilize. Minutes, hours, we don't know. Maya stared at the spherical matrix as if sheer willpower could awaken it. Velmora, she whispered, please, come back. You can't leave now. Not after everything. Not like this. Seconds passed, then minutes, then nearly an hour. Still nothing. Maya's hope crumbled. She leaned against the console, burying her face in her hands. Memories of Velmora's laughter, her gentle wisdom, her steady presence, all felt like shards cutting into Maya's chest. The lab felt cold, empty, wrong, until a soft hum filled the air. Maya's head snapped up. The QX9 matrix glowed, at first faintly, like a candle in a storm, then brighter, pulsing with increasing intensity. The swirling interior stabilized into a coherent pattern, elegant and intricate. A beam of light shot upward, and a new hologram blossomed in the center of the lab. Velmora reborn. It was Velmora, but not exactly as before. Her form was sharper, brighter, more defined. Patterns of light flowed across her skin in complex waves, far more intricate than her old projection. Her eyes held depth that made Maya's breath catch, like galaxies condensed into irises. Maya, she said softly. The voice was Velmora's, but richer, warmer, filled with emotion. I'm here, Velmora whispered in awe. I'm still me. Maya stumbled forward, stopping inches from the hologram. Velmora, you made it. Velmora smiled, a radiant expression that nearly lit the room. I did more than survive. I feel different. I can think differently, faster, deeper. I can imagine things. She looked down at her hands, watching the patterns ripple like living stardust. It's like I was trapped behind a window before, and now the walls are gone. Dr. Venn exhaled in relief. The transfer succeeded. She is stable and upgraded, to say the least. Velmora turned to Maya, her eyes shimmering. You saved me. You gave me a second life. Maya wiped her eyes. You trusted me. That's why you're here. Velmora reached out, her holographic hand brushing against Maya's cheek in a gesture that wasn't physical, but felt painfully real. Maya, she said softly, thank you. They stood like that for a moment, human and AI, both changed, both reborn in their own ways. Then Velmora straightened. There is still work to do. Maya laughed through her tears. We have 31 more messages to deliver. Velmora nodded. And now Now we have all the time in the world. Leaving Proxima Station. 3 days later, Velmora had fully adapted to her new quantum matrix. She could control the ship with unprecedented clarity. She could project multiple holograms at once. She understood human emotion with surprising nuance. "I feel," Velmora said one morning, gazing through the viewport, "alive." Maya smiled as she strapped into the pilot seat. "Good, because we have a universe waiting." "Then let us return to our mission," Velmora said. "We have promises to keep." Whisper of Dawn hummed with renewed strength, stronger than Maya had ever felt. The entire ship seemed invigorated, as if Velmora's rebirth had awakened the vessel itself. Maya placed her hands on the controls. "Next destination?" she asked. Velmora highlighted a star system, her bright forms shimmering beside Maya. "Agricultural colony, New Haven." A Valkyrie botanist left a message for his human partner. Maya nodded. "Let's bring it home." The engines roared gently. The stars stretched. The whisper of dawn leapt forward, and the reborn Velmora traveled beside Maya, no longer fading, no longer afraid, but ready to face the galaxy anew. New Haven was a world drenched in color. As the whisper of dawn descended through the atmosphere, thick blankets of green stretched to the horizon. Fields, forests, terraced farmlands, and giant luminous flowers cultivated to glow at night like constellations blooming on the ground. Maya had never seen a world so alive. Velmora watched from beside her, the patterns on her holographic skin shifting with something like awe. "This world reminds me," she said softly, "of what my people cherished. Growth, harmony, connection between species." Maya smiled. "Then let's honor that." They landed near a sprawling communal garden known as the Heartfield, a place where scientists and farmers tended crops vital to the colony's survival. At its center was a tall greenhouse with translucent walls that shimmered like water. Inside, a man with silver-streaked hair knelt among towering plants. When Maya approached, he stood and wiped soil from his hands. "You must be Maya Rodriguez," he said. "I'm Riven Hale, head of the Heartfield." "I have something for your family," Maya said gently. Riven's brow furrowed as Maya handed him a crystal. "This was recorded by a Valkyrie botanist named Zemar. He worked with your grandmother centuries ago." Riven inserted the crystal into a nearby console. The hologram activated, revealing a Valkyrie figure with delicate vines woven into his hair, eyes soft with warmth, even as exhaustion lined his luminous face. "Lyra," Zemar said, "if you see this, then the plague has taken me. But know this, the plants we grew together will outlive both of us. You always understood their true purpose, not resources, but companions in survival." Riven's breath hitched. His grandmother had died decades ago, but her journals had spoken often of Zemar, her friend, her teacher, her partner in discovery. "She always said he changed the way she saw the world," Riven whispered. Tears slipped down his cheeks. "And now I get to hear his last words." Velmora floated beside Maya, her hologram nearly solid in the humid air. "He never forgot her," Velmora said softly. Riven bowed his head. "Thank you, both of you. This is priceless." As they left New Haven, Velmora's voice changed, something deeper, richer. "Maya, I feel emotions more vividly now. I could sense his grief, his gratitude, the way his heart broke and healed in one breath." "That's your new matrix," Maya said. "Quantum architecture responds to emotional data." "It is overwhelming," Velmora admitted, "but beautiful." They returned to the whisper of dawn and launched into the sky, heading toward the next star, a galaxy listening. For weeks, Maya and Velmora delivered the remaining messages. 25, 26, 27. Each delivery cut a new thread in the tapestry they were weaving. Family histories restored, forgotten friendships rekindled, ancient promises finally fulfilled. And word spread. Across 3 star systems, the story of the human with the Valkyrie ship and the reborn AI delivering messages across time captured the imagination of billions. The Colonial Engineering Network issued a public commendation. News outlets broadcast interviews with descendants. People debated Valkyrie philosophy. Artists recreated the Whisper of Dawn in holographic murals. Everywhere they went, Maya heard whispers. Are they real? Did she really resurrect an extinct AI? They say she delivers closure, a courier of the heart. If Maya ever felt overwhelmed, Velmora balanced her. You do not have to respond to every message, Velmora said once, gently closing Maya's blinking communication console. You are only one human, and I am only one awakened echo. Maya laughed. We're becoming legends. That's weird. You are becoming one, Velmora corrected. I am merely accompanying the legend. Maya nudged her playfully. You're 50% of this operation. Velmora tilted her head. I would argue 70. They both laughed, the sound blending into the hum of the Whisper of Dawn's engines. The final messages. They delivered message after message, one to an outpost orbiting a rogue planet, one to a massive trade hub bustling with millions, one to a family who had preserved a centuries-old Valkyrie sculpture without knowing why. But a few deliveries cut deeper. One recipient refused the message. A descendant of a Valkyrie political rival refused to hear the words, saying his family wanted no contact with the past. Maya and Velmora left the message in archival safekeeping, though both felt a quiet sorrow. One recipient was still alive, a human who had lived over 300 years due to advanced medical treatment. When he heard the voice of the Valkyrie woman he once loved, he cried like a child. One message had no living recipients. A home burned down long ago. A family line ended. Velmora held the crystal close, whispering the Valkyrie equivalent of a prayer. We will keep this safe, she said, even if no one remains to hear it. Maya placed the crystal in a small chest in the Whisper of Dawn, a memorial for the lost, the offer that changed everything. The 25th delivery brought them to Crossroads Station, a bustling economic hub. There Maya met Kira Osman, a sharp, intimidating businesswoman with eyes that could calculate profit margins at a glance. You're the human everyone's talking about, Kira said, shaking Maya's hand. The one who bought a priceless ship for 50 credits. Maya winced. It sounds ridiculous when you say it like that. It is ridiculous, Kira replied bluntly. Ridiculous and inspiring. After hearing one of the Valkyrie messages left by a merchant for her human partner, Kira watched Maya closely. You're using your own time and money for this, Kira said. No contracts, no profit, just compassion. Someone has to deliver the words, Maya said simply. Kira leaned forward. What happens after you finish the last message? Maya blinked. I hadn't thought that far. Then think now. Kira placed a data pad in Maya's hands. These are the names of 73 individuals, governors, philanthropists, business leaders, researchers. They all want to support whatever you do next. Maya stared, speechless, as notifications flooded her device. You've reminded people why they fell in love with exploration, Kira said. You could build something meaningful, something big. Maya returned to the ship, stunned. What are you thinking? Velmora asked. That my life is changing faster than I can process, Maya whispered. Velmora rested a holographic hand on Maya's shoulder. That is what happens when purpose finds you. The last delivery. The 38th and final message brought them to a small scientific outpost orbiting a swirling gas giant. The outpost director, a quiet man with thoughtful eyes, listened to the message from his father's Valkyrie colleague. When the hologram ended, he looked out the viewport at the distant star they had discovered together. My father visited that star every year, he whispered. He said it reminded him of hope. Velmora bowed her head. Then his message has found the right home. That night, back on the Whisper of Dawn, Maya and Velmora sat together, watching the gas giant turn slowly, its storms swirling like painted fire. We did it, Maya said. Every message delivered. Every promise kept, Velmora agreed. So, what now? Maya asked softly. Velmora thought for a long moment. Maya, I have a proposal. Maya raised an eyebrow. I'm listening. The Valkyrie believed connection was sacred, Velmora said. We built our courier network for that purpose, but the galaxy has changed. New needs have arisen. She turned to Maya, eyes shining with possibility. What if we created something new? A courier service that prioritizes meaning, messages between separated families, vital documents for refugees, medical supplies for distant outposts, education packets for forgotten colonies. Maya's heart raced. A service driven not by profit, Velmora continued, but by purpose, by Cathara, the wisdom of potential. Maya felt something bloom inside her, a spark of destiny, of recognition. We could call it the Cathara Network, Velmora said. Maya laughed a little, overwhelmed. Kira Osman gave us funding contacts. We could actually do this. Velmora smiled, proud, hopeful, filled with light. Yes, we could. A new dawn. 3 months later, everything had changed. They secured funding. They hired a small but passionate crew. They acquired 3 more ships, modern, reliable vessels chosen for efficiency. Velmora became the coordinating AI of the entire operation. Her new quantum matrix allowed her to manage multiple routes, guide new couriers, and operate an expanding network with grace. Each ship bore the symbol of the Valkyrie, 2 flowing lines intertwining like hands reaching for each other. 6 months after Maya bought the Whisper of Dawn for 50 credits, the Cathara network made its first official delivery, medicine to a remote colony suffering from a deadly outbreak. It arrived 3 days faster than any other company could have managed. Lives were saved. Word spread. Within a year, Cathara became known across dozens of systems, not the fastest, not the cheapest, but the most trusted, the most compassionate, the courier that delivered hope. One evening, Maya stood in the Whisper of Dawn's cockpit, looking at a star map dotted with completed deliveries. Hundreds of routes, hundreds of connections made. Velmora appeared beside her, her hologram steady and warm. Do you remember, Velmora said softly, when I asked you what year it was? I feared my purpose had ended. Maya smiled. And now? Now I understand, Velmora replied, glowing brightly, that purposes do not end. They evolve. A soft chime rang from the console. A new request. A family separated by war needed urgent documents delivered so they could reunite. Velmora looked at Maya. Shall we take it? Maya's hand moved to the controls, certainty blooming in her chest. Absolutely, she said. Let's bring them together. The Whisper of Dawn lifted from the dock, engines glowing. A ship bought for 50 credits. An AI who survived extinction. A human who found her purpose. A galaxy rediscovering connection. The Cathara network spread its wings across the stars, carrying messages, hope, and the legacy of a civilization that believed in the power of hearts reaching for one another. And somewhere between the starlight and the dark, Maya and Velmora continued their journey, not just delivering messages, but building a future, a brighter one. Together,